let's go into sports. I'm gonna keep it speaker view because I'm still working on this the NFL thing. But the first thing we want to talk about is Trevor Lawrence. The dude tested positive for COVID. Um, Funny thing about that, because there's nothing funny about having COVID, but the funny thing about this particular story is that Zeus and I were talking about, Falcons probably, like if they were to, you know, finish with a bad enough record where they could have their choice of Lawrence or Fields, which one would I prefer? And I believe I said Fields, right? Because I didn't necessarily see a lot in Lawrence's game that convinced me that he was that great. And what I told Zeus is that Lawrence plays in the ACC, and the ACC is like trash, right? Like anyone can win in the ACC. Well, so the funny thing about that is when we started recording, Clemson was playing Boston College, and they were losing. They were losing by quite a bit. Clemson's actually winning right now.
I see that, the 34-28. So you might be right.
With a minute to go, with their backup quarterback. But still, usually Clemson would like destroy Boston College.
Yeah.
So maybe Lawrence is, maybe he is the real deal. But he has COVID. Best of luck to him. Well wishes and all that. We've heard from other accounts of people who have had COVID and had like the bad symptoms of it. Like it lasts long after the disease is out of everybody. So we're hoping for the best for him. But on the same COVID standpoint, the World Series was ended this past Wednesday. And it was
no, it was Thursday because it went against the. No, was it?
It was Game 6. The Game 6 was Wednesday.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the Falcons played on Thursday.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the Dodgers won in Game 6, but prior to that, though, Justin Turner was pulled out of the lineup because he had a positive test for COVID, and he was basically quarantined. But then when the Dodgers won and they were celebrating, mind you, this is the Dodgers' first win in 32 years, right? So it's a happy moment for everybody. Justin Turner comes, huh?
I said that's not a happy news for us.
Right. So Justin Turner left his quarantine and went out to celebrate with the rest of his team. No one is wearing masks. A lot of people on the field, and this dude is just tested positive for COVID. It's like, come on, man! Like, what are you doing? So the MLB was talking about possible fines against the Dodgers for that, because you have to understand, when the league is doing fines like that, it's twofold. It's one, you're endangering other people, but two, it's you're making us look bad on television.
Especially after the season almost ended due to COVID.
Yeah, especially after Zeus and I have talked about the MLB a few times on our show now, and of all the sports leagues, I said the MLB has handled COVID better than any other league, and then this happens. So
they handled it the best though, because remember, they were also handling it the worst at first. They were just basically saying like, oh, just they were letting players do whatever they wanted to do. Go, what I mean? They weren't checking them the way they did with the NBA bubble, the way they do with the in the NFL. Like somebody tests positive, everybody has to go home. Yeah. They've been telling people don't go hang out, because that's what Cam Newton got in trouble for, because he went out and had dinner with somebody and then he ended up getting COVID, and I think that other person got COVID. I might not be 100% correct on that, but MLB had that issue where how many was it? Like they had to cancel like a few series.
They had to postpone a few, especially the Marlins.
Thank you.
A lot of their early series had to be postponed till later.
And so that's the reason why they're like, yo, look, we almost, thank God we're at the end, right? It's over. If you get COVID, it's not going to mess up any games, but you're making us look bad because we were adamant and we were really good against this COVID thing. And then you go out and do this. We get you wanted to celebrate.
Final day.
Yeah, but it's just like, yo, dude, just because school's out doesn't mean you can ruin the principal.
Right. Yeah. It was so stupid. Yeah, it also makes me think about when the Braves are playing, and the all the teams are playing in bubbles effectively, right?
Yeah.
But the TV channels would always cut back to the home crowds, and the Braves had all those well, people who are familiar with the Battery, there's like a lawn area right outside of the gates to go into the stadium.
Yeah.
Well, there were a bunch of people, with their lawn chairs in the lawn area, just everyone just packed out there to watch the games on the big screens, and almost no masks in sight. And I'm just like, just because they're stopping the virus by not having people inside the stadium.
Doesn't mean you're stopping the virus is not still dangerous.
Yeah, doesn't
And you're putting
mean
people
that
like, so my mother works
up.
near, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, mother works near there, right? You're putting people like her in danger. She's
yeah,
older. You're putting other people in danger. It's just, and that's the reason why the MLB was like, yeah, we can't have fans because you guys are idiots.
yeah, and they showed it. The Braves fans showed it by huddling up on that lawn every game together like that, seeing kids running around, and it's like, come
Yeah,
on.
I will say my
guys.
friend was out there and she had a mask on. So,
Oh, that's good for her. But just in general, I think that's stupid. Anyway.
I wouldn't have bothered going. Just look, if this was like the regular World Series, they do the same thing, right? They let people go to the stuff so they can watch it on the big screen. Man, that's one thing. But when you're not sacrificing your liberties and rights just to go, and we don't want to get political, right? Because this is sports, but you're not really sacrificing anything if you're watching it at home, or if you're all there, wear a mask. I don't get why the Braves stadium, because they own that property, but look, if you're going to be on our property, you have to wear a mask. Just do something.
Well, the thing is, you have gates to go into like the actual stadium part, but that part of the Battery where people are sitting on lawns, it's effectively open. There really isn't any place where you can block it up unless you go and put police there and put like
police
yellow
gates,
tape around it. But yeah, man, it really pisses me off, and I know that, like you said, you don't want to get political because it is sports, but at the end of the day, this is sports related. Because all these people that keep saying that we want our sports back, we want this and that, the longer we keep this virus going or this pandemic going, the longer our sports are in jeopardy. Just be responsible for once in your effing lives, so that we can have our sports back the way we like to have them. Where we can
real
be
quickly,
in there.
it's funny, the people who are adamantly like, oh, we want our sports back, are huge fans of college football, are huge fans of baseball. Because I feel like college football fans and baseball fans are usually very much, because it's a little bit like, what's the right word I want to use? It's more suburban.
Yeah.
A lot more country. A lot more country people love their college football.
From
and
the
baseball.
islands of Caucasus.
Yeah. It's just, look, if you want your sport, you look, they're all connected. It's all connected. You want your sports back, let's handle this virus. Let's handle this pandemic, right? Honestly, look, studies have shown if everybody in the country, or no, I don't think it's even everybody in the country. I think they said if 60% of this country had masks on, the virus, the curve would be, the virus would be curbed.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not saying we will destroy the virus, but we're saying we can keep it at a level where things can work normally.
Go back to look, don't get me wrong. We're going to restaurants, right? Yesterday we went to Applebee's. We had our masks on. We sat on our chairs. Applebee's has put up barricades, right? It's not 100%, but hey, we're still living a little bit,
right?
But we're still putting precautions into it. And then Applebee's is also doing that. Hey, look, we have these metal, and I think we were supposed to cancel Applebee's a long time ago. But anyways, we have these forks, these metal forks. We have these plastic ones. Which one do you want? Plastic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks. We don't want to use plastic up like that, right? But in the interim, we kind of got to just be doing some things to do better. But anyways, yeah, that was just something that happened. Look, COVID is going to continue to be a part of sports. I don't think this week we had any. Did we have any issues with NFL in regards to COVID? I don't think we did this week, did we?
There were a couple, but I can't remember them.
Not significantly big, like a Cam.
Like a player here and there, and no, it wasn't.
No, because there was no postponement of games, if I'm not mistaken. There was no rescheduling of games. I think with the Falcons we had one guy, but I think he was injured. Marlon, the second round draft pick. I think he was on the COVID list, if I'm not mistaken.
For the Falcons?
Yeah, but he was taken off, but he still didn't play, or he might have been injured reserve. I'm not 100% certain. He was our second round draft pick, Marlon Davison. Okay. I don't know. I keep acting like I don't know his name, but I do know his name. Yeah, he was placed on the COVID reserves list on October 13th, and then was activated October 26th. But he still didn't play for this game. I don't know if it was because of injury, like something was bugging him, or it was one of those things where like you haven't had enough time to practice, so we're not going to throw you into a Thursday game, because he was activated on the 26th, meaning that the game was the 29th, so he would have only had like 3 days to kind of practice. Yeah. So that's the reason why they didn't do that. But other than that, there wasn't really that many issues. But anyways, you ready with that list, or?
Yeah, I'm ready. So I'm on Google spreadsheets, and I don't know how to look at functions. Not functions, sorry, formulas. Like how to pull up the different formulas, because I had to add another row because the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game was moved to this week. But the formula did not format on. You know what? I know what to do. I got it.
I was going to say, you just might have to copy and paste, my friend.
No, not copy and paste. I have to paint format into that row.
So while you're doing that, we're going to talk real quickly about the Atlanta Falcons, because obviously with the Atlanta Falcons, both Zino and I were going to vote. We're going to go for the Falcons this weekend, last week. So we didn't have a chance to do our recap prior to the Thursday night game against the Carolina Panthers. So we have 2 games to talk about. Now, Zino, would you by any chance have gone for the
Carolina
Panthers?
No way. I think we've decided that because I think after our first 5 picks, we picked the Falcons every time, even though they were losing every time. So I think we just decided, we're not really gonna differentiate on the Falcons thing. We'll differentiate on all the other games.
So that's not an extra point that I could have gotten. But anyways, no. So so what happened was with the Falcons, right? It was first. I want to point out our one prediction came true, which is after the Dan Quinn firing, we predicted that Raheem Morris would win 2 out of his first 3 games. So that did happen. We lost against the Detroit Lions. We won against the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say, Zino, I don't know if you agree with me, but I actually wasn't a fan of the outcome for the Detroit Lions game, but I wasn't disappointed in their play.
I was actually pretty disappointed in the offense up until that final drive. I was happy with the offense in a total of 2 drives. And yes, the final drive was it was a good drive, but it was disappointing that they left that much time on the clock. And I was even saying it and I know everyone else in the world must have been saying it. Like please take up.
Well, I don't even quote it to the defense being not good enough to handle that, just not being good enough. I hold it to the fact that, look, Matt Stafford is also the king of comebacks. You give him he's that good of a quarterback. So there's a lot of I always make fun of homers, right, who love Matthew Stafford but criticize Matt Ryan. But I'll tell you one thing right now. I still, if I had to choose between them 2, I would still go Matt Ryan. But Matthew Stafford is still an amazing quarterback. He probably, if he had a better team, he probably would be. He'd be in the picture of in the NFC championships and stuff like that. If he had a much better team, the problem is he just has never had a good Detroit Lions team around him.
Yeah.
If you put him with the Falcons, he might have been more successful than Matt Ryan. There's a possibility there, right? We really can't know for sure. So Matthew Stafford is great at comebacks. He's that clutch. He's always been that clutch, right? You give him enough time. But look, if Matt Ryan had gotten that much time, I think Matt Ryan probably would have scored too, right? It was just
I don't know.
Based off of how the Detroit Lions defense was playing, I do. Because look what they did. They marched down the field. The Detroit Lions defense didn't let them score until they were close enough to score. Until then, they were still trying to stop them. Right. It was just though that the Atlanta Falcons marched down to the goal line, and that's when they scored, right? So as many people probably already know, we were up by what was it? We were up by.
We were down by 2 when we went to go score, and then we got up by 4. We hit the 2-point conversion, so we were up by 6.
Yes. So then the Detroit Lions got the ball, and they marched down the field.
It was like 50 seconds left, I think, on the clock.
It was about a minute, actually. So the Detroit Lions marched down the field because what they ended up – see, the thing is, though, if the defense had been a little bit quicker, they would have stopped Matthew Stafford from throwing that touchdown, right? Because, he was getting chased down by one of our – it was just that Matthew Stafford was just a little faster. I'm just not completely disappointed in that game. Disappointed in the outcome, but I'm not disappointed in that game. I get what you're talking about the offense because you know what? I could tell you I'm more disappointed in the offense against the Carolina Panthers than I am the Detroit Lions. Because
I agree.
Because the fact of the matter is Dirk Cutter left 16 points off the board. Because we went we went down the field. I think the first 5 drives, they went down the field and they had to settle for 4 of them had to settle for field goal kicks. You ended up leaving 16 points on the off the scoreboard.
But you know what though? I'm actually okay with that. And here's why. We got on their case a lot on Sunday when they went for it on 4th and 5, I think.
Uh-huh.
And they obviously didn't get the 4th down conversion. We were down 14 to.
And he's talking about the game against the Lions.
Yes. So we were down. We were up. 14 to 12 at the time. Right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were up. We were up by 2.
And I think that officiating crew was also trash.
Yeah, it was trash. Were we up by 2?
I forget how many points
we were up by 5. We were up by 5. That's what it was.
Okay.
It was 14-9. So we had a chance to kick a field goal, and we did not. Right? Instead, we're going to go for it on 4th and 5. We get stopped. The Lions go and they score a touchdown. And they kicked the extra point, and now they're up by 2 on us.
Mm-hmm.
Had we kicked our field goal, we would have been up by 8, right? And then forced the Lions to go drive and get a 2-point conversion to tie the game or whatever. But we didn't do that. This time around, they go on our first drive. We got deep in the territory, and then we got stopped at 4th and inches. And then we ended up taking a timeout and then come back and kicking a field goal on 4th and inches in the red zone. Normally, I'll be like, go for it. But I'm also thinking, well, we also kind of flamed them for leaving points off the board. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? Take the points, especially that early in the game. Take the points.
No, my disappointment isn't that they didn't go for it. My disappointment is that you just didn't score a touchdown. You didn't actually get past the.
Why did it get to 4th down?
Yeah, and once you're at the goal line. Like it was just like we got to the red zone and then we didn't score. That's the issue that I'm having. It's like, why do we keep getting to the red zone? We're obviously doing good. We're marching down the field. You're into the red zone though. You have to settle for field goals. That to me is Dirk Cutter's vanilla ass offense. So either way, I wasn't disappointed in the Falcons these last 2 weeks. I really wasn't. Obviously, it should have. The thing would be that you would hope that Raheem Morris was perfect on the season, but I really wasn't disappointed in the play of the Falcons these last 2 weeks. I think they played good, and you got to keep in mind Raheem Morris is now 2-1.
I think the defense honestly has been pretty good. I mean, yes, that final drive against Detroit, whatever. I don't think they should be in that position.
But then what happened in the final drive against Carolina?
Yeah, they stopped them. Yeah,
they stopped them. They got an interception.
I don't think the defense should have been in that position for that final drive because the defense had a lot of stops against Detroit. Like, so I mean, everyone wants to conveniently forget all the stops that the defense had and only remember that last bad one. Well, they shouldn't have been in that position for that last bad one because we gave the offense a lot of chances. Imagine this defense playing the way they're playing in the first 4 weeks of the season when the offense was balling out. Yeah, it would have been amazing.
But we would have been well, Dan Quinn would have been fired. That's one thing.
Well, that's true.
But honestly, when Dan Quinn got fired at 0-5, we probably would be sitting at 3-2 at that time.
Yeah.
Seahawks game, we definitely would have lost, but you would have won against the Cowboys. You would have won against the
Bears.
The Bears. And probably beat Carolina too. And then who was the other one?
The fifth game was against the Packers. I think we could have beaten.
Probably would have lost that.
We could have beaten the Packers. We could have beaten the Packers. The defense was so non-existent on anything that was like mid-range. The defense actually played really well on the run game, even though Aaron Jones had a pretty good game. But anything that was mid-range they were so non-existent. That's why Robert Tonyan had the game of his career against us because the defense didn't know what to do. Rodgers, which we then saw against the Buccaneers, was not that good against the Falcons.
You're right. You're actually all right.
But he didn't have to be good because
so you're saying the score doesn't really speak to the story.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
So basically, you're saying we really, instead of saying that 3, what are we?
Would have been 4-1. I think we could have been 4-1 with a decent defense.
Well, unfortunately, now I feel bad for Raheem Morris because now he's just fighting from behind. Obviously, at 0-5, he was already fighting from behind, but I think he would sitting at 3-5 is a big difference than 2-6.
Yeah.
But,
at this point, I think we could win all our division games, and we can beat
Chargers.
We can beat the 3 of the AFC West teams.
No, we only have
4.
I keep thinking that we've already beaten Denver.
We haven't played any of them, so we can beat 3 of the AFC West teams and still miss the playoffs. That's why last week's loss was that. This past Sunday's loss was that bad because
it was tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, because now there's no margin for error anymore. The Chiefs, we're not going to win that game. I'm just calling it right now.
But look, I thought about that. I don't think we could sweep everybody else and just lose to the Chiefs. I really do see at least 2 losses left, maybe even worse. But
so I don't think there's a playoff path for us. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because the thing is, though, you also have, the West is a freaking juggernaut, right? Like the NFC West is freaking. Look. If I was a fan of, I'm not gonna lie. I'm quick to not watch some games just because I don't. But the NFC West games this season, I've been watching them and I've been enjoying all of them. The Arizona. So we're gonna talk about that. You ready to pull up the list?
I have it. I'm ready.
All right, so that is Falcons football. Basically, what Zino and I are saying is, look, there's no more margin for error anymore. Even if they go perfect right now and finish at 10-6, there's a possibility they still wouldn't make the playoffs because there's just a lot of other good NFC West teams. But one thing that we could probably play is spoiler for a lot of teams, right? We could play spoilers for the Aints. We could play spoilers for the Bucks. So there's those possibilities, right? That's the one thing and then unfortunately for Raheem Morris, he's not going to get this head coaching job, but if he finishes strong, I don't see him not going as a head coach to another team. I really don't. I feel like he would go to like one of these, probably the Jets or something like that. He would go coach there because people would be like, look, he did a good job with what he had. Because you got to look at his record after that, right? Like record after, because right now he's standing at 2-1. If he loses, let's just go with 3 games, right? And we end up going, what's that makes it being? That makes us being 7-9. His record would only be what? Like 7-3. That's a good record. So he'll probably get a head coaching position, but of course now we're just trying to do a clean slate here in Atlanta, so that won't likely happen. But hey, until then, we are not one of those tanking kind of people. So hopefully they keep winning.
professionals aren't going to tank anyway.
They're not. Professionals don't give a damn about your fantasy draft picks.
So one thing I want to say is that there's going to be 7 seeds, right?
Yeah.
The playoffs. The current 5th, 6th, and 7th seed all have 5 wins. They're all 5-2.
Yeah.
So the Falcons are basically 3 games back of them, and that's the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Bears.
Yeah, there really is no path to the playoffs, but
unless we win our division, which would require us to catch up on the 5-2 Bucks. So sweep the Bucks and then hope the Bucks lose elsewhere, and then just be perfect basically the rest of it.
I think the Bucks will lose another game somewhere else, and if we did sweep them, then that would give us an opportunity.
Yeah.
But then you also gotta sweep. If we sweep the New Orleans Saints, they still have to lose one more game too.
If you sweep the Saints, they have to.
Because they're 4-2.
No. Yeah, you're right. They've only played 6 games so far. You're right. Yeah.
So you have to. So that's the problem. Is that's like we said that one game, that Detroit Lion games is such a killer, because if you went out if Raheem Morris did the impossible and went out perfect, then yeah, we would be in the playoffs. We would win the division because we would have the same amount of win as them at the least, and we would sweep them. But it's just unfortunate it's not going to happen. But again, we don't believe in tanking, so we're still going for the Falcons.
Lombardi.
We have no games for them, so let's just